Hi guys, this is the Rusted Willow, and today I have a mystery box challenge, but with a twist. We were given a special item that we had to create items for, and we drew names. I got Kathy Joe from Kathy Joe's DIYs, and she gave me a project to make. I will put a picture here. I think it's on this side. It might be on this side, but I'm pretty sure it's on this side. I'm not sure. Anyway, I am not a furniture builder. My hands are killing me. It took me all week to build this project. My husband was out of town the entire time. He just got back to town tonight, and I just got some help tonight, finishing it off. I only have one project for you. This collaboration is called Waste Not, Want Not, and I love Kathy Joe, but this kicked my butt. I'm not gonna lie. Our special material was cardboard. So they picked an item for us to make, and we had to make it out of cardboard. I will just jump right in. So let's get started. Here is another look at the cabinet that Kathy Joe gave me to recreate out of cardboard. Okay, I've been painting the ceiling all day, so I'm covered in paint. I have paint all over, but I need to get started on this project, so we're just gonna get going here. I have some cardboard sheets here, and I'm gonna be measuring them out. So they are 40 inches, like 3'4" this way and 4 foot this way. So we're gonna keep the 4 foot, and I am going to cut them down to 2 feet on, so we're gonna have them 2 feet across. Okay. And this thing is exactly 24 inches. So I am starting by building the walls. I am just measuring out 2 feet across so I can get my 2 feet by 4 foot walls built. And then I am marking the cardboard. It's so large, I have to do it on the floor, and I am just marking it out with my square, and then I'm going to go back, measure again, make sure that my 2 feet is correct, and then I just start cutting. Now, I don't have a large surface to cut on, so my husband's like, "What are you doing? Why are you cutting it that way?" And let me tell you, it would have been so much easier if I would have just started with fresh blades. Now, why I didn't start with fresh blades, I have no idea. But after I changed the blade out last night, cutting cardboard was a whole lot easier. So here I am, I'm like struggling, and I can't even understand why. But change the blade. Always start with a fresh blade. It would have been so much easier, and it would have cut through this cardboard like butter, and I wouldn't have struggled so much. But I'm just cutting my sides. So what I did was I measured one, and I put the cardboard, I clipped it together, and then I cut the other 2 sides because we want to make 3 sides. We got a front and 2 sides. Now I am taping them together with duct tape. So I got 2, the back and 1 side. And we want them to move because we're going to have to put the shelves in. We have a lot of work to do before we can even start to put this thing together. All right, so I'm just moving this around so you can see this better. I tape this on the inside and outside of every seam, and I tape it multiple times just because I want this to be pretty sturdy, and especially with this Dollar General duct tape. Dollar General duct tape. It doesn't work too well, so use the good duct tape. Okay, what we have is 3 sides. I'm gonna make some other sides before I put the bottom in, and then we're going to create the door. So let's get to cutting on the sides. By the way, don't use the cheap duct tape from Dollar General. If you're gonna use duct tape, just use the regular duct tape. It's much better quality, it's heavier, and you can make anything out of duct tape and cardboard. Did you know that? Anything in the world. I should have got that flex tape. It could have been waterproof. Huh, anyway, okay, let's get going. All right, we got the sides built, we got the back built, and now it's time to build kind of the supports in the front. So what I do is I mark these out, and I believe I went 4 inches. And I went 4 inches on either side. I use my square and I mark it all the way up, and these are 4-foot lengths of cardboard. So I'm just using what I cut off to make the sides. I made the sides 2 feet and the back is 2 feet, and then the sides in the front, the supports where the door is going to go in between, are going to be 4 inches. So then I just score this cardboard. I don't cut it all the way through. I just score it. And then I trim off some of the excess. I just scored this. We have 4 little accordion style little slats that I think will fit perfectly on the side for the door. So it'll give it some reinforcement, and we're gonna put one here, and we're gonna put one here. You can see this one better. Anyway, we're gonna put one here, 4 thickness, and put one on the other side over here, 4 thickness. And then that'll give it some stability and make it thicker. Okay, let's get busy. I'm gonna duct tape the edges. Okay, now we're going to attach these side pieces that are gonna go in front this way on the side, but I want them to have like a little flap here, and then I will tape up the corner so they will lay flat and look nice. So, and then our door will go in between. All right, let's do that. Use good duct tape. Gosh dang it. Okay, well, not that piece. My hands were so sore from pulling this stuff apart. Now, after I got the supports on the sides all made, I am just attaching it. So I want it to fold in, but I also want it to be sturdy. So I am making like hinges. I want this to be attached to the side, and I want it to face forward. And you'll see what I mean by that once we get this all done. So I am just making hinges, attaching it to the inside of one of the sides, and then I am going to cover the outside with duct tape to create stability. And then I also go back inside in the corner and add more duct tape because we want this to stand on its own. You could probably just see better what I'm doing than the way I'm explaining it. Okay, this side is on. Now we got to put this side on. We're gonna do the same process. I'm gonna glue it down. Oh, and it's not going anywhere either. Ooh, it is steady. It's gonna be nice and strong, nice and strong. Okay, so far we got 3 sides and a side. All right, guys, now today, like I said, today is the Waste Not, Want Not mystery box hop. Now, the twist is you have to use cardboard to make these projects. Now, I gave Jackie my project. Now, unfortunately, she is not able to participate today, but that's okay. You will see her project coming up in one of her upcoming videos, and I cannot wait to see how it turns out. I'm going to leave that a surprise, so you'll have to go over and watch Jackie's channel to find out what project I sent to her to recreate out of cardboard. But make sure to go over and visit the other ladies and see what they made today. Now let's get back to it. All right, so now it's time to build the shelves. So I made my box 2 feet by 2 feet by 4 foot tall. And this carpet square just happens to be 2 feet by 2 feet. However, so is my square, which I figured out. Why are you using this carpet square when you could just use your stupid square? So my square is 24 inches, and that is the exact size that I need to make my shelving. So I took several sheets of this cardboard and I measured out 2-foot squares, which are 24 by 24. I scored it on the edge that was the waist, and then I just went to the back side and cut down the seam. That made it so much easier to separate. Now I am making my shelves 2 cardboard thicknesses. So they're going to be double, I don't know how to say it, double thick, 2 cardboard sheets thick. So anyway, I made my shelves double thick so that they would be more sturdy. And now I'm just continuing to cut out the shelving. And as you can see over there, I don't know if you can see, don't look at my pajama pants, but I have both of the outside edges on for where the door is going to fit in. And so I just continue to cut these shelves. Now I make a top, a bottom, and 2 shelves. So the bottom is a shelf, the top is the top, and then I have 2 shelves in between. I also made them adjustable. So the only shelves that are stationary are the very top, which is the top of the cabinet, and the very bottom. But the 2 shelves in between, you can move them. So there I'm just showing you, I just score the cardboard, and then I actually was going to leave them together as one, but they didn't fold quite perfectly. So I went back and detached them, and then I trimmed up each of the edges that weren't quite straight because I'm kind of a perfectionist. And there you can see there, I score it and then I go back with the knife and cut the rest off. So now here I am with several of the sheets of cardboard, and I am gluing them together with wood glue and hot glue. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want them to be stuck together. If they're stuck together, they're not going to bow or have air in between them, or I don't know. I just feel like this is going to make them more sturdy because they're going to be as one piece and not like 2 separate pieces just duct taped together. They actually become one piece and a lot thicker and sturdier. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just gluing with wood glue and then gluing with hot glue. And I do that with all 8 pieces of cardboard. And then I go back and I tape around all the edges with duct tape because I don't want any raw edges. I want them to be completely sturdy and I want the corners to be protected. So I actually put extra duct tape around the corners. And here you can see I'm just kind of squaring them up with each other. So I was just trimming the cardboard to square it up because I want these shelves to be really sturdy. I was just showing you the corner, how I did the corner. So I made the corners completely square. Okay, so now I'm going to build the supports for my shelving. So I finally found a use for these Jenga blocks. I have not, or tumbling tower blocks, whatever you want to call them, from Dollar Tree. I have not used them before, and I'm trying to hot glue them together, and it's not working. So I decide I'm going to use wood glue and hot glue, and I make several supports. And here I'm just using the wood glue and I feel like I don't have time for that because I got to get these shelves together. It's super late when I'm making this because that's the only time I have to work on it. And I'm trying to knock this project out. All right. So I got my side supports done, and then I went to my wood stash. And I found this piece of wood and I put it on the back. Now this is at the bottom. I have it upside down. I put it at the bottom and I am just clamping it on there until it's good and dried. Now I'm putting the support pieces on either side and I am holding them in place with painter's tape. Now this is for the bottom, and then I use my level to make sure that they are level. And I do one side and then I do the other. All right, so now I am measuring for the shelves. So after I measured and used the level, they still weren't level. I about killed myself measuring and leveling these little supports, but in the end, it was easier to just put in the shelf, hold it to make sure that the level was level, and then put the supports in that way. And that's how I did the top shelf. So here is what it looks like so far. I have one shelf in, and you can see the other shelves sitting there beside it. I do not have the bottom in yet, and I did cover these shelves with contact paper from Dollar Tree that I already had on hand. So now it is Friday night. My daughter is helping me get the shelves in so that we can, well, actually, she's helping me put the bottom and the top on together so then we can put the shelves in because that's what's going to hold this together and hold the shelves in place. I have these corner supports that were from a box of wood that I bought, and there was only 3 in there, so I staggered them. I put one in the middle, one at the top on the right, one at the top on the right on the bottom, and the middle one actually went on the left side. And I used wood glue and hot glue to hold them in place. And that is what is going to keep this box square and from being so wobbly. And I call it a box. It's really a cabinet. I could hardly squeeze the glue bottle because my hands were so sore. And then she's just laying this on its back so that we can put the top support in. And as you can see, I do have the bottom shelf in, and now I'm just going to hot glue it in place. We're going to hot glue it, and then I'm going to actually use duct tape to go over it so that it is well supported because this is the bottom shelf. And I'm actually going to attach some feet on there. So she is lightly sanding these feet. I've already taken them outside and sanded them down on the belt sander. They did have little, I don't know what you call them, but nubbies on the top. But instead of getting the saw out, I just put them on the side of the belt sander that is really coarse and sanded them down smooth. So now I'm just using hot glue and I'm putting that bottom shelf in place, and it is not going to move. And I use my painter's tape to hold it together while I hot glue everything in place. And now it's time to place the top. I'm so excited because now I know we are on the home stretch, guys. I got the shelves in place. I have the bottom in place, and now we are placing the top. And on the top, I did put supports underneath. So they are sitting on wooden supports, and I just duct tape it down into place. I don't want any seams. And this holds it nice and tight. I cover all the seams because I don't know if you guys have ever had a cardboard paper cut, but I have plenty, and they do not feel good. All right, so now I'm going to add the trim. So I cut these pieces of cardboard into strips, and they are actually in 2-inch strips. No, I take that back. These are in 3-inch strips, and I cut them down accordion style like I did for the side supports. And I am just adding this trim to the top and the bottom. And I do the front and back first, and then I slide the side supports or the slide trim in between the front and the back. And then I go over it with duct tape again. And I make sure that it's all nice and straight. And she's ripping the duct tape off for me, so to help me out with my hands. And then after I get the trim pieces in place, then I just go around the whole thing with a duct tape again. We want those seams nice and tight. And I go around the outside, and then I take my duct tape and I go around the inside. I fold it in half and put it down in the seam, so that way all the cracks are covered. It just makes it more sturdy. All right, now it's time to get the feet together. We are taking our antiquing wax and we are staining these feet. And I'm actually going to hot glue them onto these blocks because I add I add cardboard trim to the top and the bottom. And so with the trim on the bottom, you can't really see the feet. So I wanted you to be able to see them a little bit. I am staining these feet with Waverly antiquing wax, and then I take my wood glue and hot glue and I add them to the blocks. I wanted to be able to see them a little bit because we added some cardboard trim to the bottom of the cabinet. So then I take the feet and I hot glue them in place, and then once they are dried, I take some screws and I screw them from the inside of the bottom shelf through the block and the feet, so that way they are more stable. You just see me hot glue here, but I do go back and put screws in and put them in place. All right, guys, now we are on the home stretch. It is time to cover this cabinet in some wood trim. This is actually underlayment. And we used this as shiplap on my walls, which you can see behind me. And my husband cut these strips down so that I could use this on the cabinets. This was what we had left over. So I am just hot gluing it to the cabinet. I got a wood splinter there. I'm hot gluing this to the front of the cabinet. Now I didn't have enough to go around the whole cabinet because he didn't cut me enough and he was out of town this week. Oh, look, there he is. He just got back to town last night. So he's helping me put the wood pieces on, because squeezing this hot glue gun, my hands are dead. Like, they are just over this week. So we add trim to the sides and the top, and then we also add this wood trim to the door. And then that's about all the wood I had. So we're going to have to cut some more to do the sides. And this actually turns out gorgeous. Now, I did not paint it or stain it yet. Kathy's cabinet is very primitive, and my style is more farmhouse shabby chic. So if this is going to go in my house, it's going to be white. So I do plan on painting it, and I wanted to cut out a butterfly in the door and not a star. So even though she gave me the task to make this cabinet out of cardboard, I still wanted to put my own spin on it. It did not have to be an exact duplicate. We were allowed to put our own spin on things, and so that's what I plan to do. Now, I do like rusty and crusty items, so I do have these old hinges, and I am just going to attach them to the door. And all this stuff I had in my stash. Who knew I could build furniture with just the stuff I had in my craft room? I could probably build a house, actually. All right, so we are putting the door on. My daughter's helping me put it in place, and then I just screw the hinges in. And we are about done, guys. Okay, and here she is. Now you can still see the duct tape on the inside, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. I might go back and cover it with more contact paper, but I didn't want to waste it on the doors. So again, this is the Waste Not Want Not mystery box hop. So don't forget to go over and visit my friends to see what they have made, because I cannot. All right, guys, you're gonna have to go over and watch everybody's videos. I cannot wait to see what Kathy Jo has made, and I cannot wait to see what the other ladies have made, because it was a surprise. So we don't know what their projects were, and they don't know what my project is. I can't wait to watch their videos. I hope you enjoyed this video, and just know that you can make anything out of duct tape and cardboard. All right, guys, now it's time for the final reveal. And here's another look at Kathy Jo's cabinet that she tasked me with making. And I hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I will leave the playlist link down in my description box, and I will also pin it in my comments. I hope you enjoy it, and I tell you what, this was definitely a twist. So we are saving tons of cardboard from the landfill, and I was using what I had in my stash. I had all of this stuff in the house, and the material I used was from my shiplap walls, if you can see behind me. So I was just using up some of that. Well, now I'm out. I gotta go get some more so I can finish my cabinet. So anyway, I love it. I love how it turned out. I still need to stain it, but I'm actually going to paint it and make it more my style. I don't do primitive, I do farmhouse. So I wanted to paint it and not stain it. So I hope you love it. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one, and I hope you have a fabulous weekend.